Let's go to Studio 997. Kojiang Singh is stationed there with our guests, Clara and Kofi Bentil. As polls have opened, you can see if you're watching on television, people are voting. We will be touching base with our correspondents on the ground shortly. But first, Kojiang Singh with our guests.
While you've been whipping around the nation, we in here, we've decided the fate of Ghana single-handedly. My guests, Kofi Bentil and Clara Berry Kasati, are here with me, and we are breaking it all down in these first few hours as polls get ready to open in literally, well, actually, polls are open. It's about 10 minutes past 7. Voting has begun across the nation in this all-important 2020 election. Now, we're going to settle in for some headlines from the newspapers in just a moment. But Kofi, one important thing I think you wanted to do before we continue.
I needed to make this correction. So earlier on, I said that Clara had suggested that the turnout this year will be higher than last year, and I said it wasn't so. It was a mistake. She didn't say that. I think I got the wrong impression. So please, Clara, forgive me for that.
Right. Absolutely. Well, that's all cleared up. We're all friends again. Let's get back to the headlines. We've got newspapers. Today is a holiday for some of you who might just be waking up and getting ready to start your day. It's a holiday today. But the papers are out. We've got a few of them here, and we're going to run through the headlines really quickly. I'll start with the Ghanaian Times. And the banner headline this morning, surprise, surprise, Ghana decides today. 12 contestants vie for president, 17,027,665 expected to vote. EC sets up 33,367 polling centers nationwide. There are 4 pictures of presidential candidates, including the president and, of course, John Mahama, Ivor Greenstreet, and Reverend Christian Andrews of Gum. Also on the front page, don't declare results, EC tells political parties and media. We'll talk a bit about that later. President Akufo-Addo urges Ghanaians to vote is also on the front page. And on the back this morning, 3 sports stories. Oli Dwarf's game off. Hearts' winless run continues, and Kotoko declared winners without kicking ball. I'm sure some political parties would like that to be their fate today. Clara.
Yes, I'm holding the Daily Guide, Kojo, and the banner headline is that I have the pictures of the president and then former President John Mahama, and the banner headline is that Akufo-Addo tipped to win as Ghana votes. I also have IGP promises protection for all, and then EC issues orders to field staff in its criminal issues orders to field staff. It is criminal not to stamp ballot. And then NCA cautions TV, radio stations. At the back, we have Kotoko gets a Champions League walkover. And then Bawumia commissions Wali Wali Stadium, and Bassa defeat, huge setback. That's all. And then the Premier League table.
Okay.
Yes.
Before I read I think there are a few things we needed to comment on. First was the issue about not declaring votes. I think we should make that point clear.
Yes, in fact, I intend for us to spend a bit of time talking about it, but why not clarify now? Because when the EC says don't declare votes, that's a very important call. But speaking of calls, that is what the media does. We call the election. That means we predict the outcome. That is not the official results. That can only be given by the Electoral Commission. That's an important point to make.
It's a very important point. And the point must be made that the prediction, if it's done by credible media organizations, is based on the mathematics. And you have every right in law to make that prediction. Now, people should not be offended by that, even if your prediction turns out to be wrong. And I think on that also, for the sake of public information, let's put a few other things in. It is fully within your right to take pictures People need to know this. You have a right to take pictures of the process. Just be at a safe distance and don't disrupt anybody. And these pictures include pictures of military or police or security persons and their activities. The citizen has a right to do that and even to use it if necessary to show when things have gone right or wrong. So nobody should harass anybody for taking pictures, but don't disrupt the process. Don't be too close to the point where you are, effectively harassing somebody.
Or photographing somebody's vote.
Or photographing somebody's vote, etc. So we need to be clear about that. There are things that we can do. And these things ultimately make the process more secure.
Yeah.
So we should all just be mindful of that.
And just to add to that, having the media also follow and be able to project. The media doesn't declare, as you have already.
Declare,
they make the projections. It helps with transparency.
Yes.
And that is what helps with credibility and acceptance of results. So I think it's a good thing that we have a lot of media that will be paying attention to the process and all of that. It aids with the transparency process.
And of course, here at your election headquarters, we have a tradition, a long-standing tradition of calling the elections and doing so accurately.
Yes. So Daily Graphic has a poster front page, and it says 8th, 4th Republican polls. Ghana votes today. Akufo-Addo confident of victory. Mahama poised for comeback. And that's interesting. For me, what's important is that Ghana votes today. And I would keep saying this till it wears out. I am a very proud Ghanaian. We've come to this point. We are voting today. Everything is normal. It's like any other day. And for us as a people, we should be proud of that. And we should work hard to make sure this day ends uneventfully. It will be wonderful for us to have this vote go in peace, go and eat your fufu, go home and rest, watch Joy, and see the election results coming in. There is no need to add anything to that. And indeed, Kojo, I'm going to complain about Joy. Yesterday, it's as if Joy wanted some other news. There was a report about people throwing stones. And the report said after the stone throwing, there were minor cuts. Apparently, somewhere in the north, NDC and MPP had rallies, and they were returning from the rallies, and they met at a point. So some people were throwing stones. I mean, this kind of minor hooliganism should not be news that Joy should carry. The report said there were minor cuts that were being looked at, and it was a whole news item. I'm not saying,
but that's your dream coming true, right there, Kofi.
Exactly.
If that is what news was, and if that is the worst it'll get, throughout this election, that's wonderful.
In that sense, that's fine. But my point is, don't spend serious Joy FM time talking about a few hooligans who threw stones.
We will bring you every moment of these elections
in the world, and everybody should come and learn how we do it here. So that's the Daily Graphic for you.
Kofi. All right, I've got the business analyst. I'll run through the headlines quickly. Decision day: go out and vote. President to Ghanaians as EC cautions parties against declaring results. Investors want more of same in Ghana as fiscal challenges mount. Cote d'Ivoire lifts suspension of Hershey Cocoa sustainability schemes. People of Philadelphia will be happy about that. Informal businesses to serve voters as corporate Ghana closes down for 2020 elections. That does it from the business analyst.
Okay, I'm holding here the Herald. And then it says a secret movement of police and military weapons detected. But ex-servicemen advise deployed colleagues to act professionally at 2020 polls. I also have, let's build Ghana for everyone, not for Akufo-Addo's family. John Mahama and Jane Opoku Agyeman declare. And then I also have two anti-corruption kingpins unhappy with Akufo-Addo government. I have in it the picture of Franklin and I think that's Steve Mantiao.
That's Franklin Kujo.
Franklin Kujo and Steve Mantiao, yes. Then MPP gives up getting majority seats in Parliament to focus on presidential ballots. That's it for the front line. And, well, the back page is mainly advert.
Yes.
Well, I have the palaver, the new palaver. And in front is a banner with the NDC tickets only. And they say Mahama Afa. Under there, we have Wake Up NDC, watch Jimabwedi's Kodeo and KRL closely. Somewhere in the middle, I think there's something I saw which I think is necessary. We should fit it into this whole, arrangement. It says that Coronavirus vaccine. Pfizer given protection from legal action by UK government. I bring this in because as we go out, this is what I want everybody to appreciate. This is injury time for coronavirus.
Yes.
Okay, we have vaccines out, and maybe by the middle of next year, we should have them somewhere in Africa and we can all get vaccinated. Don't die in injury time. Don't catch the virus in injury time. It will be a tragedy. So as you go out today and as you go out in the next few months, please take all the precautions and survive this thing. And as you can see in the UK, they are doing everything. They've given the vaccine guys all kinds of protection so they can roll this out. It will get here soon. And then this point about Mahama 5, I'm not going to comment too much on that. But it says, wake up, watch Jimabwedi's Kodeo and KRL closely. In other words, basically, Kodeo and Co. are the election observers. They're supposed to be independent persons observing, and there are many of them. Yes, just as we want to watch the security agencies, we want to watch, the election EC officials, we should watch everybody closely, including citizens. And like I said, I am actually an advocate for citizen journalism. I always say, go out there and have your cameras on at a safe distance and record everything you can record. Let's watch everybody. And I'm very jealous about the fact that we need to protect this process and it to be protected with vigilance. I'm glad the media is out there, but citizens should also be vigilant. So watch everybody, whether election observer or whoever, polling agent, watch everybody. Document as much as you can. So that's what we have here in Palava.
Yes, from an unobtrusive distance. Okay, so you remember, you actually drew attention to this, Kofi, this story in the Ghanaian Times. Don't declare results, EC tells political parties and the media. Another aspect of that story that I want us to talk about is the EC's own pledge to actually give us results within 24 hours of the closing of polls. And this story kind of reminds us of it. There's a quote here from Jean Mensah, the EC chair. It says, and I quote, "The Electoral Commission is the only body cloaked with the power and authority to declare the presidential and parliamentary elections. We therefore caution all stakeholders, especially the political parties and the media, to desist from declaring the results. We have indicated our intention to declare the final certified results in a timely manner, and we will do so, God being our helper." Now, here's the thing, the interesting statistic that I thought I would bring up. So, some of you may not know this, but there is no polling station in this country that has more than 749 Ghanaians registered to vote there. So that's the highest number you can find at any
What's the
polling
number
station.
again?
749. In fact, 70% of the polling stations across the country have 500 or less voters. Okay, so that is a very important number to bear in mind. This is why the EC is confident that they will be able to give us results quite early, because really that's where the counting will happen, at the polling stations. And once those numbers are known, beyond that is just verifying. So there is a real opportunity here for us to know quite early how these elections have gone. And I wonder what you both think of the EC's capacity to give us results 24 hours after closing the polls. Clara?
Well, I always have the tendency to say that if you are in charge of information, you are in charge of your resources, and you say you can do this, unless I have information to otherwise, I'm going to believe you that you can do it. So yes, of course, we don't know whether there will be recounting at other polling stations or not. And then if there's going to be recounting, how long is it going to take to collate to get the information across? But if the EC is determined to declare the results within 24 hours, let's hope that they are able to do it. If they're able to do it, it would be great. But I'm sure that for all of us, it's not really how fast. Whether they're able to do it within the 24 hours or not is not, but how at least trustworthy the process is, and then the declaration is made. So if they say they should, I want to believe that they would be able to. I'm sure they would have taken into consideration whether even if there is recounting. In spite of that, they would be able to do. That's fine with me.
Yeah. Kofi, will you be disappointed if we don't have it in 24 hours?
Different view entirely. So this is unnecessary, unforced pressure. The EC has just put unnecessary and unforced pressure on itself. That is one. Why would you do that? So it's always better to underpromise and overdeliver. Okay, if you didn't say that, if you told yourself, well, give us 24 hours, give us 48 hours, give us 48 hours or 72 hours, then you do it in 24 hours, I'll be happy. So that unforced pressure, I don't see why it's necessary. And now it will force them to try and meet it. Okay. The other thing that must be learned, look, the sages said, festina lente, make haste slowly. So, of course, be diligent, make haste, try and get it out quickly. But I know how the processes are. Incidentally, I and my senior Sheshe, Lawyer Kotompa, went to court, okay, that is many years ago, before 2016, to force the EC to go through a certain set of processes. And we won, which means the EC must have the signing done, the pink sheet sorted out, everybody must do that. There is no guarantee that people are going to comply, especially when at the local level they are, disgruntled. Okay, and you can't force that, but that has to happen. All right. Yes, I'm happy to hear that it's under 1,000 per polling, station. But again, we have an issue. You know, the running battle we've had with the EC about their, doing everything afresh. EC today is using new equipment. We have a history with new equipment. It's not just Ghana, the whole world. Anytime you have a deployment of new equipment, you have little things here and there. Okay. So it is reasonable to expect that there will be a few things here and there. I have said that I am prepared to give the EC the benefit of the doubt. I have said that we wish we are wrong and that everything goes nicely. But it is not smart to plan with the best case scenario. So putting this amount of pressure on yourself, okay, is unnecessary.
But should they not have a standard? I mean, if they believe it's doable, should they not set themselves that target, aim for the stars, and then,
I was coming there.
You hit the sky?
Even if it is doable, again, I said festina lente. There are certain things where it is better to give yourself a certain room. Okay, and nobody is asking for 24 hours. I'll be happy for 24 hours. But if you did 48 hours, it is reasonable. And it will be very good. In fact, world-class, reasonable, world-class good. Okay, and then we can all rest and make sure that this is well done. Now, here's the point. If the EC makes a mistake, we would take months trying to fix it. The last time we had an election problem, it took us 8 months. So the EC must appreciate that.
Says that won't happen.
Well, I hear you, but who knew what will happen? And again, if a lawyer goes to court and tells you I'm going to finish this case in 3 months, he doesn't know what he's talking about because it is in the bosom of the judge. What I'm saying is that there was no need to put this pressure on themselves. And 48 hours would have been fine. If they had done 24, that would have been okay without promising it. If they make a mistake, I'm not saying they will, but I've told you that new equipment means a bit more mistake. It would take us far more time trying to fix that. So please, even with this promise made, I urge the EC not to feel bound to declare results in 24 hours. I think Ghanaians have waited for 4 years. We can wait a day or two. Of course, if the results are ready, verified, signed, and everything is clear in 24 hours, I will commend them publicly. It will be a world record. Not even the US was able to pull that. Okay, so all well and good, but this is an unforced pressure, and I think in future they should be minded not to do that.
Let's talk a bit more about the EC and the task it has ahead of itself today. This is an electoral commission that has come against a world of criticism, especially in this last election year. It all started when they said, look, we're going to have a new register. And there were those who thought, why not wait? Let's use what we have. And that went back and forth. The man to my left is one of those who was most vociferous in his criticism. But he wasn't alone. Many, many people had a thing or two to say about the EC's timetable. But say what you like. They've stuck to their time. Whether they've made the right decisions and done the right things, that will always be a matter of debate. But they've stuck to the timetable. I wonder whether that, for you, gives a certain amount of confidence that either way we're going to, we're going to go through this smoothly, or do you still, sleep with one eye open when it comes to them?
Oh, when it comes to, we just watch. What I like to do at this point particularly is to have hope and faith. and then to encourage the EC to do the things.
Forgive me, Clara. I'm hearing as we're speaking that there's an incident in the northeast region we need to pay attention to. So let's very quickly cross over to Mamavi in the other studio. Mamavi, what's happening in the northeast? We need to.
That's exactly what we want to find out. So let's touch base with our reporter, Jalula Morris. He's in the northeast region in the Chiraponi constituency. Jalula, if you can hear me, tell us about this developing story. Hello, Jalula? Hello, Jalula, if you can hear me, I'm asking you to tell us about this story that's just developing in the Chiraponi constituency. Good morning, Jalula, if you can hear me. Well, I'm afraid our reporter cannot quite hear me. Jalula, can you hear me now? Hello, Jalula, if you can hear me, tell us exactly where you are and what's the situation that's developing.
Yes, I can hear you, but not all that clear.
Sure, but just explain what you can report.
Okay.
Tell us what's happening.
Yeah, I think I can hear you now.
So first of all, where are you? Which polling station exactly is this?
I'm currently in Chiraponi in the northeast region. And then at the polling station, mock polling station near Jamija Kujo's house, where voting has commenced. Hello?
So what has happened? I understand that there are some foreign materials found in one of the ballot boxes. Is that the story?
Yes, it's true. This is not the only polling station that I've visited this morning. I've visited about 6 polling stations. And at all those polling stations, the presiding officers complained of seeing yellow ink with yellow stamp and then yellow stamp pad in the electoral material that they were given to them, which they found to be very strange. And with regards to that, I asked the presiding officer, they told me that it was not part of their training, so they were not aware. They are used to the old black ink that usually was given to them in previous elections. So this one, they have to even come and then do education at the polling stations to educate the voters on the new ink that became a mess this morning. So I think that it was one of the challenges that we confronted in almost all the polling stations that I visited this morning.
Okay, so what it is, and for those of you who are watching television, you can see the materials that Jalula is telling us about, the yellow ink. So that's what they're using to vote.
And then I think the presiding officer is here. He can even throw more light.
Sure, let's get a bit of explanation from him. Good morning, sir, if you can hear me. This is JoyNews. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Good morning. Good morning to you. Can you kindly introduce yourself?
Hello.
Hello, sir. Very good morning to you. If you can hear me.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Are you the presiding officer in this particular polling station? The mosque polling station? Hello, good morning, sir. Okay, I'm afraid we can't quite hear the presiding officer. But if you can hear me, sir, I'm asking you to explain the situation with the ink that you found in the boxes this morning. Well, I'm afraid that... Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
About some minutes ago, and then the voting process is going on well.
But I understand that your ink is different. You have a yellow ink. Is that the case?
What is happening?
Okay, looks like we have to work on that line. It's difficult connecting right there to the presiding officer at this polling station, which is a mosque near Janinja. This is in the Chiraponi constituency in the northeast region. We'll try and get a lot more on this and then share with you. But let's, Evans, I'm not sure if you understand what's playing out here.
We're checking, and in the strong room, they've been checking this since the story first emerged. and they got the presiding officer there to confirm that they've seen this, ink that they themselves had sort of questioned and raised a query on. But obviously, as you could hear in the background, this is causing a bit of a consternation at this particular polling station that needs to be resolved quite quickly. Also because in this area we know has a history of conflict. I mean, that has been tainted with some tribalism over the years. My colleague Gifty Andoapia has spent a lot of time recovering the 3.8 conflict. Many souls have lost in the particular part of the country in the northeast region. And so this is one of those things that has to be nipped in the bud very, very quickly before it turns out something else. We're still working the phone lines to try and get a presiding officer to talk to us. But it's going to be an interesting watch going into the results coming in, because I'll pull up Trip on it very soon to tell us why maybe this area may not be as tense. But also, if you look at the margins shortly, you probably will begin to appreciate why it's so close. It was very close in terms of the winning margin for the NDC, and this possibly may fuel some form of anxiety. This has to be addressed very quickly.
Absolutely, absolutely, Evans. Let's go to the Central Region. Richard Kojonyako is our colleague on the ground. Richard, good morning to you. What can you report this morning?
I'm currently in the Cape Coast South constituency, the frontage of the Cape Coast Castle, where we have two polling stations that are here, the Cape Coast Castle 1 and the Cape Coast Castle 2. The queue started forming as early as 5 a.m. The electoral officials were here to put their things in order. They were here together with the party agent who collaborated with them to ensure that everything was fixed. All the safety protocols have been put in place. So I can count up to about 50 people that are currently in this queue. It's really a long, winding queue. It goes around there, so the person washes their hands at the far end there, and then gets to where the person is expected to vote here, and then voting is done. We are expecting 50,015 voters in the Cape Coast South constituency, and it's about 112 polling stations here. And the history is pretty interesting. This was part of the entire Cape Coast constituency, was split into two. Cape Coast South, Cape Coast North, and Kwekuri Hagen has been the MP for this area since 2012, and he's coming up again to contest the MC, the mayor of Cape Coast, Ernest Atta. So it's going to be some different. The demography here, it is a mixture of the fisher folks, and then you can also see the monumental historic building like the Cape Coast Castle. You see the court, you see the schools, Infantipim School, and all of that. They all form part of the Cape Coast South constituency. It is divided by the main Cape Coast Accra Highway. So at the University of Cape Coast end is the Cape Coast North, and then at the Cape Coast Castle area is the Cape Coast South. So that is what we are looking up to. It's been about 36 minutes of voting, and we are told by the presiding officer that about 15 people have finished casting their ballot, and it's going smoothly. The police, the security, everything is intact here. So, Mama V, that is what I can report. Let me just engage with the presiding officer here to tell me what they've been up to. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I hope you're fine.
Yes, very well.
How are things shaping up here?
As you can see, we came here very, very early, and we set the place in order. At exactly 7 o'clock, we started with the voting. We are expecting about 550 people to come and cast their votes. We have 6 absentees. So far, so good. You can see everything is moving on smoothly.
There's no cause for worry?
No, please. No. Initially, our machine was not booting well, but it's now working in good shape.
Okay. So what's your name?
John Kwame Sam.
Okay. So Mama V, John Kwame Sam is the presiding officer here, taking charge of the Cape Coast Castle area, polling station 1. And there are so many of them that are currently in the queue. Obviously, you can see the first-time voters also queuing in order to also cast their ballot for the first time. Let me try engaging a few of them. When I'm for today, now the time never had it. Ever hanchary. And see, what expectations then?
BBI fine.
BBI fine.
No, BBI fine.
Okay.
I mean, BBI.
Okay. So she says that because of God, everything is going to be fine. They are praying for peace, and then they are also praying for some smooth election to be conducted. Good morning. And where are you coming from? If you're in around. Okay. So I had to Abba. Okay. Abba time never had it.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it your first time of voting?
Yeah.
It is your first time of voting. How is the experience like?
It's cool. It's normal.
It's normal.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is another voter, and she's obviously a first-time voter here. So the people are in the queue waiting for their turn to cast their ballot. So here in the Cape Coast South constituency, it is pretty smooth. Everything is ongoing very well. Very soon we'll be at the commander at Ningo-Prampram constituency. That is where the NDC running mate, Professor Jenano Kukwajman, would be casting her ballot. We will be following her closely. But if you talk about the central region, we have 23 constituencies. Out of the 23 constituencies, the MPP has 19 and the NDC has 4. But we are going to look at the dynamics. There have been a lot of talk in town and all of that. So there are so many of the seats that are very close to call. We have about 537 hotspots in the central region, and the police say they are on top of their game. They are ensuring that everything runs smoothly, and that is what we can say for now, Mamadu.
Well, thank you very much, Richard Kojonyako, and we kind of like it when you mix the chi with the fancy. That's how they do it in Cape Coast. From Cape Coast South, Richard Kojonyako, my colleague there, will be going to Wa pretty shortly to join Rafiq Salam. But let's cross over and go to my colleague, Kwete Nate, who is in the Ningo-Prampram constituency. Kwete, a very good morning to you. What's the story there this morning?
Good morning, Mama V. I'm here at the Ningo-Prampram constituency, and specifically at the Ahriam polling station, where a total of 95,753 registered voters are expected to cast their ballot here. In fact, the polling station where I'm standing, this is the place where the incumbent MP, Sam George, is expected to cast his ballot today. Voting has started here at the DA primary at Ahriam polling center where I'm standing. Currently, I can see long winding queues. The EC officials are checking the temperature of the voters before they are allowed to wash their hands, and then the verification process takes over. The challenge which I can see here has to do with some of the voters wearing their face masks. In the queue, you see that some of them are wearing their face masks, some of them are not wearing the face mask, and that seems to be the challenge. I have with me here the presiding officer at the Ahriam polling station. Here's Mr. Emmanuel Blebo. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
One challenge I've noticed here has to do with voters, some of them not wearing face masks. Why is it so?
Yes, it's a big challenge, but those are not wearing the nose mask. They have a face shave, which help them to be without a nose mask. They use their feet to instead of that. And I communicate with them about it, but some of them are saying that they are not having it for now. So that's why they use the face shade in place of the nose mask currently. So we are still continuing to educate them about it for social distances.
Talking about social distancing I can see is a challenge. Many of these voters standing here are very close to one another. I don't see them adhering to the social distancing protocol.
Yes, indeed. You see, guys, it's a challenge. I'm still continuing to educate them about it. You see that as you come, you see me going around talking to them about it. But as you live there, they do the same thing as you ask them not to do. So we are still continuing to continue to help them to maintain a social distance. You can see the number is very huge. So as time goes on, I'm sure they'll pick it up from there and everything will be okay.
Mamavi, there you have it. So social distancing is a challenge here at the Ahriam polling station. As I speak now, the voting process is going smoothly at both centers. There is an A and then there is a B. The B center started about 10 minutes ago. There was some bit of confusion because some of the voters were unhappy that they had been delayed by the electoral officials, and some told me that they had come as early as 2 a.m. In order to cast their ballot.
And that's my colleague Kwete Nate reporting from Ningo-Prampram constituency. From Ningo-Prampram, we cross over to Ablekuma West, where Kweku Asante is standing by. Kweku, a very good morning to you. What can you tell us? What's happening? Exactly where are you?
Well, Mama V, I'm currently at the Dansoman Senior High School polling station where electoral materials just arrived. And if I turn my camera in a moment, you would see that electoral materials just arrived over here because of a little lateness in arrival of the polling materials. There are still a number of people who are already in the queue. Some of them have been here since dawn. They've been telling me that they are very much excited about the process. They are waiting for it to get to their point in time to be able to cast their vote. In this constituency, about 92,000 people are expected to cast their vote in what will be a very fierce contest between the incumbent Member of Parliament, Madam Esla Usu, and then the NDC's candidate, Reverend Kwekuado, who is expected to cast his vote at this specific polling station that I'm currently at. I contacted his office and they told me that he'll be casting his vote a little after 7 a.m. And so I'm here, I'm waiting for him to come around and cast his vote. But I've also been at the Exhibition Assemblies of God polling stations. I've been at the Dansoman polling stations, which have 6 and 5 polling stations respectively in all those areas. The queues are long and winding. The people there have been telling me, some of them, you could see them having brought their own chairs from their houses. Some people have gallons and other things that have been put in place to wait for them. But so far, what I've witnessed is that in all these places that I've gone to, the adherence to the COVID-19 protocols are in place. I was trying to speak to this specific polling official here, but he tells me that because polling material just arrived, he's trying to sort those issues out with the polling officials, the party agents, and the election observers and everyone here. So far, in the Ablekuma West constituency, we've not had any skirmishes so far. The polling process has been going on so far. Most polling stations that I've been to this morning started the voting on time. At 7 o'clock a.m., the voting started at the exhibition polling station. And so far, so good. Now everything is ongoing here. Security-wise, everything is fine.
If there's been an explanation, you said the materials just arrived, which means that they are late. Polls open at 7 a.m., which is almost 15 minutes ago.
Right. So 15 minutes later, polling material just arrived. I've been trying to get explanations from the polling officials over here. He told me that some of these materials, they do not have control over that. They do not know why these election materials arrived so late. But when I arrived there days dawn at the police station and at the coalition center where most of these deployments were made, it was expected that by 7 o'clock a.m., election would have started in every specific polling station in the Ablekuma West constituency, but it is not clear yet why this specific polling station had a very different story. But I'm trying to get answers from the polling official here. He's telling me that he will find out that from his supervisors and get to know why exactly election started here so late, 45 minutes after election was supposed to start. Actually, it hasn't even started yet. The material just arrived. They are sorting it out with the party candidates, party agents, and all those who arrived. And then the first candidate will be expected to cast his or her vote.
All right, Kweku Asante, we will leave it here. A very big thank you to you. Let's go back to the Ayawaso West Gwogon constituency. But before we bring in Manuel Kransing, Evans, I just want to ask the fact that the polls haven't opened. Voting is not underway where Kweku reported from. But we know that polls will close at 5 p.m.
Well, of course. I mean, that is what we know in the place right now. But the law allows people who are in the queue before 5 though, to still go on and vote. And the EC, the question is what the EC does, because the delay is not a fault. I mean, or we're waiting to get a clarity on why this happened. It's not the fault of the voter. But the law is set, right, for 5 p.m. Whoever it is that gets in there before 5 will still be allowed to vote. I don't see how this can affect, the voting. In fact, in 2016, something happened where in a huge part of the country, they had difficulties where they had to send the voting into the next day because of some challenges. And so we expect that may be, it's a template for the EC to use, but people will not be disenfranchised. The law is very clear. If you're in a queue, no matter how delayed it was, you'll be allowed to vote by 5. The ECs, for some reason, can't do it. They put in special arrangement for that to happen.
Absolutely.